possible to buy. That was my freedom.
We've got a great country, we've got great people. We have kids that are willing to put themselves at risk to serve us. This is a representation of the very best that America has to offer.
It is the best country in the world, and I'm part of it now.
My dad and mom were both in a motorcycle club, and they rode Harleys. I had relatives that had been in the various services, the Army, the Air Force, and one in the Navy. I always enjoyed listening to their experiences, especially the whole idea of giving something back.
You know, when you're young, and we all had dreams about being a big star, and mine was baseball. I loved playing baseball, and I played semi-pro. One day, Mom said, we got this thing. You've been drafted. I said, by who? He said, the Army. I said, Mom, the Army don't play baseball.
Hell, I was not committed to stay in the Marine Corps. I wanted to stay my required time and go into engineering. But I stayed for 34 years.
I decided to go into service to learn a profession. All my life I wanted to be an airplane mechanic. One day during the flight, an engine caught fire, and the pilot asked me what I wanted him to do. I said, I know what to do. I'm just as smart as he is. I'm going to go to aviation cadet training.
We landed at Tonsanute, and they had a mortar tank just as we landed. I was 19 years old. What's this? What's going on? It was a very interesting welcome.
We landed at 8 o'clock in the morning, and we fired all day. Just before dark, a helicopter came in and a major got out. And he said, your probability of getting hit tonight is 100%. So prepare yourselves.
Much of that afternoon I do not remember, and I'm positive that fear wiped a lot of that memory out.
All of a sudden, it was noisy, it was chaotic, and by that time, I was angry because my soldiers were getting hit left and right.
You tend to think that you're invincible out there, and all of a sudden I get hit. But my primary thoughts were, got to do something to protect those folks on the beach.
Jesse had crash landed. When I got over to Jesse's airplane, I tried to pull him out of the cockpit. And he said, if anything happens to me, tell Daisy how much I love her. And of course it did.
Eventually what happens, you do start seeing people killed, and you end up realizing that you're a 19-year-old kid. And as a 19-year-old, you're not God.
I was wounded, and I didn't think any doctor was going to repair me, so I might as well go all the way.
I didn't figure I'd coming out of it anyway, so I thought just keep going till you can.
Somebody yelled grenade, and I looked down, saw it.
How long had it been down there? I didn't know.
It's like time stopped.
They scooped it under me, and I said, hit the dirt, Doc. I got it in my hip pocket. And it went off.
I ran out, picked up Captain Gormley in my arms, and brought him back.
I run up and I said, come on, boy, let's get the hell out of here.
Came over the wall, put the collective pitch down, pulled the cyclic back in my lap. Stood the helicopter on her tail.
I just put one leg on each side of the cockpit and pulled him in head first right into the cockpit.
So I told the members of my squad to withdraw. And I stayed until we were withdrawn.
I didn't care what happened to me, but I wanted to protect my men under any circumstance.
I didn't even think about it, just did it.
It was my job. I don't think what I did was above and beyond. I never have.
People ask, do you regret anything about what you did? And I joked and I said, I probably would have grabbed it with my left hand. I don't have any regrets, I guess, but I'm a little disappointed that I had to leave the fight and leave all those guys there to finish it without me.
Everything that the medal is around involves the people I was with, not me. I have the highest respect for the medal and the people who wear it, but I would just as soon die as take credit.
I'm the one that gets to talk about what happened. I get all the glory. There's 3 grieving mothers whose sons were every bit as brave. And had they not been there, I wouldn't be here.
We call ourselves recipients, and people call us winners. And you see, we're not winners because we weren't in a competition for trying to win anything. We happen to be recognized by our fellow men, and so we wear this medal to honor the guys who really paid the supreme sacrifice, because we are here today because of them.
In the crucible of combat, one of the most important things you learn is the value of expending energy for somebody else. That it isn't all about you, it's about all of us together.
You know, Emerson said that all heroes must at last be bores. I mean, for God's sakes, you can only have so many parties, you can only be honored so much. And so we decided we want to leave something behind.
We stayed close to those around us. We remembered what's important. It's important to remember what you've lost, but it's important to remember what you have. That's what I wear this for.
Every Medal of Honor recipient has met in his life someone who inspired him in his lifetime to be what he turned out to be. That's our goal. That's all we got left. Time for us to get out and give what we've learned through our life to these kids.
It's not my story. It's our story. It's our story as a country.
We are showing to the people that really matter, the kids of this land, you too are just like us. That each person they meet has the potential to change the world. There's a platform we were given when we were given the ribbon of blue. Let's use it to honor others.
The Medal of Honor is not often given when things went well on a battlefield. It tends to come at a price, and heroes are often revealed. Some say I'm a hero, but it doesn't make sense, because I got to come home.
There's a verse in the Psalms that says that man that is in honor and understands not is like a beast that perishes. And I've come to understand that what this medal represents is it's not about me, but it's about men and women who value something so strongly that they'd be willing to die for it. And they'd be willing to defend our country for it. And so they put on the uniform.
When I think about the Medal of Honor, I realize that I'm wearing this medal for the 400 and some people that died in those 4 days. They got this medal. I was selected to wear it for them.
Being a Medal of Honor recipient is something that you never even dream of. There's a great sense of comfort, too, knowing that you're now a member of a band of brothers that you never hear the word hate amongst them. You killed the enemy because of the love you had for the man next to you. You knew their lives. You knew their family. You knew how brave they were just getting where they are. So the most powerful emotion on earth is love. We have to remind ourselves that and then convey that to the next generation.
8 of my brothers fought for a place we had called home. And more importantly, they fought for their comrades. And in the end, they gave their lives in that defense. I'll wear it with dignity and humility in their honor, and carry each of them in my heart for the rest of my life.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Medal of Honor Forum. Please welcome to the stage Chief Education Programming Officer of the Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation and Institute, Richard Schroeder.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to a beautiful day and a chance to honor a wonderful American. Before we start, I'd like you to please stand as we present the colors and have the Pledge of Allegiance. We welcome the Air Force Junior ROTC from Memorial High School. Once they present the colors, we'll recite the pledge and we'll start our program. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. As we start this morning, I am proud to present a video message from our local Congresswoman, Jill Brownlee.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to join you via video for this important program recognizing the service members who have demonstrated distinguished actions and remarkable bravery and service to our country. These American heroes are the embodiment of service and courage. They are defenders of our democracy, and they symbolize the American spirit. And it is for these reasons that they have been awarded the highest military decoration of the United States of America. In Congress, I am so privileged to represent Ventura County and the Conejo Valley, which boasts a proud and rich military history. Over 40,000 veterans and their families call our Ventura County home, and honoring service is the ethos of Ventura County and our region as a whole. Today we gather to pay tribute to our nation's Medal of Honor recipients, their service and their sacrifice. We gather to pay tribute to Medal of Honor recipients like Sergeant Major John Canley, a Marine who called Oxnard home. Sergeant Major John Canley was a humble man born in Arkansas. Inspired by the stories of American heroes on the silver screen, he enlisted in the United States Marine Corps in 1953 at just 15 years old. In January 1968, with his company of also very young men, he was deployed to the city of Hue in Vietnam during the Tet Offensive. The true embodiment of courage, leadership, and American patriotism, Gunny, as he was called, injured and his body pierced by shrapnel, took action to save the lives of others at the potential cost of his own in one of Vietnam's bloodiest battles. It took an act of Congress to upgrade Sergeant Major Canley's Navy Cross to the Medal of Honor. For well over a year, my office diligently worked with Sergeant Major Canley's fellow Marines in advocating for this award. And after 50 years, for this remarkable heroism, Sergeant Major Canley was awarded the Distinguished Medal of Honor, and he was the first living Black Marine to receive the medal. Spearheading the necessary legislation to recognize Sergeant Major Canley's notable bravery in Vietnam and rightfully award him the Medal of Honor has been one of my greatest achievements in Congress. Sergeant Major Canley was one of the most impressive men I have ever known. Humble in every interaction we had, he always spoke of his fellow Marines and always referenced that they were just boys, 18 to 21 years old. Sergeant Major Canley passed on May 11, 2022, and I am so proud that his country continues to honor the service and sacrifice of Medal of Honor recipients. I was honored to attend his funeral with his family, his friends, fellow Marines, and other Medal of Honor recipients at Arlington National Cemetery. In fact, the Navy is commissioning its next ship in the name of Sergeant Major Canley on Saturday, February 17th. This ship will be a testament to Sergeant Major Canley's distinguished and remarkable service to our country, and it will be an enduring tribute that honors and forever etches this American hero in our nation's history. In times of peace and great turmoil around the world, our nation has remained a beacon of hope and a shining example of democracy. It is because of our service members, like the Medal of Honor recipients we recognize today, that our democracy is strong and we remain the greatest democracy in the world. President Reagan once said, freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. He added, it must be fought for, protected, and handed on for our children to do the same. I could not agree more. It is because of our service members, past and present, that we are free. To our Medal of Honor recipients and America's veterans, from the bottom of my heart, I say thank you for your service. May God bless our veterans. May God bless our service members at home and around the world. And may God bless the United States of America.
Thank you, Congresswoman Brownlee. Before we begin, I'd like to ask if there are any servicemen or women or veterans in the room, if you would please stand for a moment. Servicemen or women or veterans, thank you for your service. Thank you. So today is an event that provides us an opportunity to learn from an individual of extraordinary courage and selflessness, a true American hero, a recipient of our nation's highest military decoration, the Medal of Honor. Through an incredible partnership between the Correctional Medal of Honor Society and the Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation Institute, we are excited to begin this year's Medal of Honor Forum. As I think about the legacy of Ronald Reagan and his guiding principles, which are honored throughout this amazing place we are seated in today, I can think of no better venue to share the powerful and inspiring stories of Medal of Honor recipients. And with you here today, we know these recipients are protectors of liberty, defenders of freedom, and as President Reagan said on Memorial Day in 1983, I don't have to tell you how fragile this precious gift of freedom is. Every time we hear, watch, or read the news, we are reminded liberty is a rare commodity in this world. Today, we have a chance to hear from a true American hero, Staff Sergeant David Bellavia. He represents what Reagan believed and knew. Freedom and liberty are precious gifts, which are embodied in the American spirit that we all love. I was thinking about this event when I was driving up President's Drive today on the way to this place. I recalled a good friend of mine shared this one idea with me back when I was the age of many students in this room. He said the timelessness and the timelines of our lives include a few significant events that, if we pay attention to, could alter how we live our lives forward. I know the next hour with Staff Sergeant David Bellavia will be one of those events upon reflection that will change our lives for the positive. Please join me in extending a Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation Institute welcome to Staff Sergeant David Bellavia, who will be interviewed by our Director of Learning and Engagement, Megan Gailey. Thank you. I hope so. Good luck.
Thank you all for being here today. Wow, it's so powerful to look out and see so many young faces who are here to learn and absorb from a great American. So let's get started. Thank you for being here, David. We really appreciate it, and we'd love to get started right away because I want to make sure we have time for all of you to ask questions and hear from him for yourself. So start getting those questions ready. We'll be opening up mics for all of you. But David, tell us about where you're originally from, your origin story, and what you were like as a kid.
All right, yeah, I'm from Buffalo, New York.
No cheers?
All right, there we go. That's what we expect to hear. Thank you. Buffalo. Buffalo is a great place to be born and raised. I was lucky enough to be raised in a community where veterans were put on pedestals. That veterans were folks that decided that America is the greatest place on earth, and every generation, taught to us by President Ronald Reagan in this beautiful, I mean, look, we're in the church of Ronald Reagan, right? I grew up, Ronald Reagan taught me why I had to serve my country, right? There was no draft for my generation, but I was compelled to serve. He also taught me that jelly beans were a food group, which I didn't know. But we recognized veterans. Do we have any Vietnam veterans here? Would you stand for a second? Now, you young people, I want you to acknowledge these men here from the Vietnam War. And the reason for that is because these men, when they left their comfort and security of home to fight against an enemy, they didn't get the love and appreciation that my generation got when we came home. But, oh no, we're not done, sir. You stand right up. Because when I came home and I had a bunch of ignorant hippies yelling at me, it was the Vietnam generation that stood between us and them. You protected us at a time when you didn't get any of that appreciation and love. So, as I was welcomed home by Vietnam veterans that told me, welcome home, thank you for your service, I love you. That's what your generation told us. I want to tell you, welcome home, thank you for your service, I love you. Let's give these heroes a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. Now let's get back to me for a second, if I could. Buffalo is Buffalo is where I'm from. My granddad is still alive. He's 104. That's crazy, right? And he's a Normandy veteran. And so I grew up hearing stories at an age where he should not have told an 8-year-old those stories. You know, they were not PG-13 about combat. But I grew up seeing that serving your country, there was nobility in service. And so I wanted to fight. But unfortunately, when I joined the Army in the late 90s, some of you weren't born yet, but when I joined the Army in the late 90s, I realized there was no war. You know, Kosovo was a war, and it really wasn't a war, you know. But when the towers fell, I was already in the military, and I just wanted to go at them. You know, I was an infantryman in the United States Army, the 1st Infantry Division, and that's what I wanted to do. So, like John Basilone, born in Buffalo, you're welcome, America. We had Gary Bykirk from Rochester, grew up with all these amazing heroes, and I didn't want to do anything but serve. I just wanted to do my part, and September 11th made that pretty clear what my part was going to be.
Was there a teacher, a friend, a relative? You talked about your grandfather who, you know, 104, great genes apparently. Was there someone who motivated you, mentored, and inspired you along the way?
Well, you know, it's funny because I think I'd be better in a war now having met all these veterans that I get to meet than I was back then. You know, I'm just too old. But how many people in this room want to serve their country in the military? Stand up. Don't raise your hand. It's not worthy of a hand raise. Stand up. That's awesome. That's awesome. You can sit down. How many want to do it, by show of hands, how many people want to do it in the United States Army, the greatest army in the world? What?
All right, ladies.
What about the Marine Corps? What about the Navy? Well, those are the only real branches of service, so we'll stop there. So, no, I'm kidding. Air Force. And what about this new thing the kids are talking about, Space Force? Yeah? Wow. Hey, Space Force, that's awesome. Cool uniforms, everything's great. No, that speaks volumes about you, and that's great. I want you to know that you've got vessels all around you that are going to give you guidance into that decision. And I'm going to promise you one thing. You are going to be a man or a woman when you come back from your military service. We have colleges. Who wants to go to college? Colleges are awesome. We want to learn. We want to dominate. We want to lead. We want to employ. That's all great. Okay? All right. I see the college is awesome. You can put your hands down. See, if you were in the military, you would have known you could have put your hands down. But no, the colleges are great. Don't you ever hear anyone talk bad about college. But there are some colleges that are breeding perpetual adolescence, right? There are adults that are telling young people, be as young as you possibly can for as long as you possibly could be young. It's great to be young, right? It's great to be young. But our world is run by men and women, adults. Adults are what are going to confront our enemies. Adults are what are going to make our life, you know, whether it comes to diversity and making sure everyone's included, everyone's accepted and treated as equals. That's the job for adults. And the military, what we do is we crush adolescents into dust and we make adults. We make adults that will look you in the eye and tell you the truth. We make adults that are accountable, that are ready to take on all the burdens of the world. So when you meet a veteran, you make sure to shake their hand and thank them for what they are doing for you, because everything we have in this world is because of the blood, sweat, and tears of the men and women who serve. Yeah. Thanks.
As you can see, this is going to be a very participatory event, so no one is safe. Be ready. You'll be standing up, raising your hands. You've already got a call to action about when you interact with veterans. So thank you for that. A lot of times we talk here, and especially with all these young people in the room, about that spark that happens that really inspires you about how great this country is and what we all can do to give back. So I want to talk to you about when that spark happened for you, where you joined the service. You talked about 9/11, and I think for many of you, this could be the moment for many of you in the audience that spark happens for you, where you see yourselves in the future. You see yourselves as these adults that will change the world. So talk to us a little bit about that.
So for me, it was my senior year in high school. It was October of 1993. It was October 7th of 1993. I was in my school library, and I was super charming and funny. And I had all my friends around me, and I was holding court, and everyone was laughing, and we were having the best time. Back then, our televisions were on carts with little wheels on them. I don't know if you guys have that now. Maybe you have little buttons that drop down to the ceiling, space age, Apple technology. Our TVs were brought in, and they had to have two people for liability, roll this TV in. They plugged it in, and it was CNN, and they were talking about Mogadishu in Somalia. And the image that I saw was of a man named Bill Cleveland. And Bill Cleveland was dead, and he was being dragged through the streets of Somalia as a corpse. And little boys and little girls were beating this American with their shoes. And I looked around this library, and nobody was upset. And I didn't want to be funny anymore. I didn't want to be entertaining. I didn't want to be cool. I was so upset that I thought, I don't care what I do in this world. I might have 25 kids. I might be a dentist like my dad. I might end up a teacher, a lawyer. I don't know what I'm going to do with my life, but I promise unto God, I will avenge Bill Cleveland. I am going to get those people, for that family, to see that on global television, that disrespect. That is not what President Reagan talked about with peace through strength. All right, we may have problems in America. You may be upset about America, but be not mistaken, right? The greatest generation, Kathy's father is a Medal of Honor recipient from World War II in Normandy, D-Day. Give her a round of applause for her DNA. That generation was known as the greatest generation, okay? America is flawed. Here's the crazy part about America. America in 1776, it was flawed, okay? America is flawed today. America, we've made some mistakes, and we're not a perfect union, right? But America is not evil. And I'm going to tell you what, there's evil in this world. And America always has to be at the tip of the spear of pushing against that evil. That's what we do when we serve. America is not evil. There is evil in the world, and America, free men and women, have to stand shoulder to shoulder and confront that evil. That's what your military does. Oh, it's great for a dental plan. Oh, it'll pay off your student loans. I got news for you. There's not a student loan on earth, even in the state of California, believe it or not, because there's a lot of student loans out here, that'll make you charge through a machine gun nest. There's not a dental plan on the planet that makes you kick down a door with a machine gun behind it. Why do we fight? You, right there, I'm looking at you. Why? Stand up. Now, yeah, why do we fight? Let's say I put you in a war, and the bad guys are trying to hurt you and your friends, right? Why would you want to fight someone that wants to hurt you and your friends? To save your friends? Why would you want to save your friends? What's the basis of you saving your friends? Your mom, your dad, your grandma, your grandpa. They care for you. So what do you give them in return for that care for you? What? Say it again. Can you believe he just said that? Do you mind if I stand?
Go ahead.
All right. Can you believe that as horrible as war is, as ghastly and ghoulish, you got Call of Duty? Have you seen Saving Private Ryan? Is that funny? No, it's horrible. War is horrible. Yet, why do Americans do it? Why did black soldiers serve at a time when black soldiers couldn't have a cup of coffee when they got home? Why did people that were not treated as equals when they came home, why did they defend this country? Why do we fight? Because we love. We love our way of life. We love our friends. We love our family. And I'll tell you what, China doesn't have that. Russia doesn't have that. Al-Qaeda and ISIS, they can't even spell that. Americans are the most dominant force on this planet, not because of our equipment, not because of our training. It's because of what we're fighting for. And that is the basis of what it is to be a citizen. We love, and we love so aggressively, we will be violent for that love. You won't touch a hair on our head. We might disagree about marriage, equality. We might disagree about taxes, the environment. We might disagree about learning to write in cursive. What was the governor thinking? But you're not going to touch any one of our citizens or our neighbors, no matter what we love or who we love or what we worship or who we vote for. It does annoy me sometimes, but I will defend it every single day because that love is the most powerful force on earth. That's what these men taught us, and that's what every serviceman and women, what they represent every single day. I'm going to sit down. I'm sorry. I get fired up, but that's true. That's what we do. I'm sorry. I will no longer hijack the events, I promise you.
That's very powerful, and I'm glad that you said that, and I hope you all really take that to heart, because that's a really powerful message, and well done, although I did warn you, you are all now under David's spell and could be called on at any second. So.
Dodgers hat, you're next. Be ready.
Well, speaking of confronting evil.
Yes.
You know, let's talk about how your military training prepared you for that moment of intense combat in Fallujah, Iraq, on November 10th, 2004, the actions for which you awarded the Medal of Honor.
Look, I mean, you can learn all day and all night. It's kind of like, I heard someone talk about, you know, if you could catch a bullet with your teeth, if that was possible, how would you practice that? Right? I mean, you would have someone toss you a bullet and you'd catch it, and then they'd say, Pete, this one's coming a little faster, right? Let's hope you've learned. You can't know what you're going to do in a austere situation until you're there. And so I just would absorb the Vietnam generation. Every time I wonder what my future is going to look like, I look at my Vietnam veterans and I think, well, they seem to have it together, right? I'm just following in their path. They came before me. They're going to tell me it's going to be okay, and I'm just going to do what they did, and I don't have to reinvent the wheel. But when it comes to combat, I'll tell you, we got a great plan. What's the plan going to be? Well, we're going to move from point A to point B, and we're going to hold this territory, and then we're going to move from point B to point C and onward, and then we're just going to get shot at along the way. And that seems to change things a little bit, right? It seems to drastically throw a wrench into the works of what your plans are. So I didn't know how to prepare for combat. I'd never been to combat. So I took my soldiers, and I'll tell you what, I fired soldiers. I fired a lot of soldiers. I wanted to make sure, look, we're not all cut out to be mathematicians. We're not all cut out to be writers. Some of you are really good at I can't paint. I'm horrible at art. Some of you are really talented. I want you painting because that's what you do. There are some people that can't do this job, and that's understandable, right? You are excellent at writing reports. You're excellent at making coffee. Make me the best cup of coffee in the world, because that cup of coffee is going to start my day, and I'm going to be so motivated. I'm going to tackle everything in front of me because of your coffee. If that's what you do it the best you can do. But I had a lot of people that could make coffee, that were trying to be infantrymen. And I'm like, you need to make coffee. That's what God and country want you to do. You were born to be a barista, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I went through a lot of men that I didn't think were up to it, and I found a perfect group of soldiers. Now I had to test them. I had to stress them out, see how they're going to act when they're hungry, right? When they're tired. I wanted to know what these guys could do. So we would do long runs. We would carry each other on our backs. We'd get to the point where you were just about to throw up, that moment where you're just about to get sick, and then I'd have them do a math test, right? They hated me. I mean, loathed me. I feared. There was a while where someone's like, you know, we're taking money as to who is going to shoot you first, your soldiers or the enemy, right? And I got to the point where I realized they might hate me now, but we're going to make it through this. We're going to make it through it. And now those soldiers are fathers and husbands. One of them just did the cold fusion test. One of my infantrymen is now working in the space program, working on lasers and everything else. And I would have lost money if you would have told me that dude could have done. He is rocking and rolling, dominating the world, super smart. These guys are from all walks of life, all parts of the country, black, white, Hispanic, you name it, they're there. I had gay soldiers. I had Muslims that served with me. We were Americans. We were infantrymen and we were Americans as one team, one family. And I love them. I love them to death. They're me. And I learned something about leaders. What makes a great leader? Who has the answer? The best leader in the world, best coach. What is the definition of a great leader? The Medal of Honor, right? Would you say that? No, not at all. That's just something that happens, right? You get promoted at work, you get the job. That's not a good leader. A good leader is who raises someone that can go on and achieve. And that's the hardest thing for me to realize. My leadership is dictated by what my subordinates do better than me. Think about that. You're a part of a team. You're a part of a school. If your school is a better school after you graduate, you are in a great community and you are a great individual in that community. We have to leave our uniform in a better locker than when we got it. We have to make our organizations, better organizations, more accessible to people that are different than we are, right? There was a time when there was no ramp to bring someone in a wheelchair into a building. What would happen if that person needed to get to the third floor and there's no elevator? They can't go to the third floor. Is that a problem today? Someone said, I might not be in a wheelchair, but that guy in a wheelchair needs to be able to go to the same building and the same office that I need to go to. Leave your community better than you found it. Leaders are not judged by what they do. Leaders are judged by what their subordinates do. And if you're not eclipsed in life, you're not a good leader. You're a follower. And nothing wrong with followers. But I need leaders. I need people in this audience, under this president's legacy, to be leaders, to say, hey, what is the building block of, let me ask you right there, up front, with your chin in your hand, right there. Stand up. What's your name? Aiden. Aiden? Okay. What does competency mean? Competency. What are you good at? No, what are you good at, Aiden? You play basketball?
I'm good at baseball.
Baseball. You're good at baseball. You are a competent baseball player, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What is the building block of your competency?
Building block is basics for me.
Is what?
Basics.
No, but that's, okay, that's for you. I'm going to tell you the building block of your competency is your character. You know why? Because no one is ever going to learn baseball from Aiden unless you are an approachable person that people respect. The building block of competency is character. You could be the best baseball player in the world. No one's going to learn your curveball if you're a jerk, right? Who's going to want to talk to you if you're an idiot? How many idiots do we have in the room? There's a few out there.
Wow.
And some of you that didn't raise your hand, statistics show that you're an idiot. I'm sorry. It's the truth. Now, here's a beautiful part about being an idiot. I can fix you. I can fix idiocy. I can educate idiocy. I can love you and respect you enough where you can do what? You can trust me that I'm not going to make a fool out of you for being an idiot. I'm going to embrace you. I'm going to show you respect, and I'm going to say, hey, that word you're using, Mom and Dad used it probably too, right? The word you're using upsets my friend. You might not think it's a bad word, but it is. It upsets my friend. So, do you want to knowingly upset my friend? You don't. But you don't know any better because you're an idiot. And it's okay. Your parents are idiots too. It's not a problem. We're going to fix it all. But we're going to do it by loving you and by trusting you. And you're going to trust me that I'm not here to make a fool out of you. I'm here to make you better. Because I need you to be better. Because I got people marching in the streets, blocking traffic. We don't even know why they're blocking traffic. They don't know why they're blocking traffic. Stop blocking traffic. You're going to get run over. I'll tell you what. Get out of the streets and sit down, make a cup of coffee, and let's talk about why you're upset. But you got to trust me first, Aiden. And if you don't trust me, I'm never going to find out what's wrong, what you're upset about. And if I don't find out what you're upset about, you're going to be on the freeway for the rest of your life. And now I'm going to run you over accidentally. And you're going to make me late. I need to trust you. You've got to trust me. And that's character. Character is the most important thing we can have. If you don't trust me, if you don't like me, if I can't like you, if I can't see that there's something behind your ability to play baseball, you will never be able to get people to follow you, and you'll never be able to impact idiots. Because that's what we have. We have a country that has a pandemic. Got people wearing masks here. You're trying to protect yourself from a different pandemic. I'm talking about something contagious, deadly. You know what that is? It's stupid. Stupid is contagious. And stupid is deadly. And stupid can get you sick and kill you. And we have to be proactive to stupid, and we have to take care of the idiots, right? And that means we have to trust. We have to be worthy of trust, and we have to have character that people can see, I'm here to help you, help me. Because our kids are not going to have the problems you have. Our kids are not going to debate what is supposed to be included. I got to force you to be diverse because you're uncomfortable? Our kids aren't going to deal with that. Our kids will not describe their friends by their religion, sexuality, gender, or skin color. They're going to describe their friends. These are my friends, and they should be your friends too. That is our challenge in your lifetime and in my lifetime. That's how we become more perfect. And ultimately, that is what is going to destroy enemies of the United States. Not bullets and bombs. Here, your brain, your heart, that is what is going to make America the shining city on the hill for the next 200 years. And don't get me wrong, the bombs and bullets we're going to keep for the interim, all right? Just in case it gets crazy. All right.
Coming to a college or university near you, David Bellavia's courses on how not to be an idiot,
or
stupid. Let's get back to some of the more positive attributes of leadership, which you showed exceptional leadership under fire, which is really the true test of your character, is when things are hard, when you're under fire, when you're in the most dire of circumstances. So can you describe a little bit more about what leadership means to you and qualities that you value in the leaders that you meet and that you've met through your life?
I just need someone to care. I need someone to nobody wants to be there was a show on television called Star Trek. Have you seen Star Trek? The old Star Trek? You ever watch the old Star Trek? They get like zapped down to a planet, and Captain Kirk is like the captain, but he's there all the time, which makes no sense from a chain of command standpoint. But he would go, and he would always show up with a character we'd never seen before. And you're like, oh, that guy's dying, right? I don't know his name. I don't know his face. He's got a different color shirt on. He's done, right? No one wants to be a person that doesn't have a title or a purpose. If I've got a group of 5 people and we're going to war, right? You're my rifleman. You are my grenadier. You shoot grenades out. You are my rocket person, and you're my map person, and you better carry some water just in case we get thirsty, right? Nobody wants that job. What do? I'm just a friend. I'm an assistant. You want to have a purpose. And in order to have a purpose, you have to have a leader that looks at you and says, I care about you. I care about you. We are obsessed with diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I'm telling you, every leader, those are not words I need to be briefed on by a governor, a president, a state senator, or an assembly person. That's part of my DNA. If you're not being included, it's because you have a lousy leader. I include everybody. It's my job to include you. You should be on the team. We're all going to go this way, but not you. You stay put. Then don't be a part of the team. Inclusion is leadership. Diversity. We're going to eat hamburgers. You like hamburgers? You want to eat hamburgers for the rest of your life? No. You want diversity. You want different opinions. Some people disagree with you. Does that mean they should die? There's a person who says, I like vanilla and you like chocolate ice cream, and you're like, you know something? I really don't like chocolate. In fact, I'm allergic to chocolate. In fact, you should die. Is that a rational thought? That's insane. That's stupid. That's an idiot. Right? So what we have to do is say, you don't like vanilla ice cream. I like chocolate ice cream. Does that hurt you to acknowledge I like chocolate ice cream? Do you want to try chocolate? I don't want to try it. You don't have to try it. I like it. Right? Now, does a leader take those two differences of opinion, and now we have to, take a television timeout and discuss it? What are you going to do? This guy's Catholic. He's Jewish. He's Muslim. Guess who's all trying to kill us? The enemy. They don't care if they killed a gay American or a heterosexual American. They don't care what your pronouns are. You're an American. And on this team and on this family, we have to be one. And in order to be one, we've got to be leaders, and we have to care. We have to understand where we're coming from, and we have to look each other in the eye and tell the truth, even when it's awkward and uncomfortable. Tell the truth. Be honest, show character, and you're going to have good leaders.
Well said. Okay, audience, this is my last question, and then I'm going to pass it over to you. So we're going to have 3 of our Congressional Medal of Honor Society partners who are going to be standing to take your questions. They'll have microphones so you can communicate up with us. So after this last question, you can go line up with them, and please give us your name and what school you're from as you ask your questions. So, David, last question from me before we turn it over to the young leaders in this room. What advice do you have for the young people who are here today and who are watching on our live stream and watching this in the future?
Well, hello out there. My advice to you is be uncomfortable every single day of your life. I want you to be uncomfortable one time a day. Be uncomfortable. Go an hour when your stomach's growling before you eat that snack. Try something you've never tried before. Talk to a kid in the lunchroom that you've never spoken to before. I'm going to warn you. They might be an idiot. Right? But have you ever been a kid in a lunchroom that no one's talked to before? Have you ever been a new person? That's not fun, is it? If you're uncomfortable every single day, you're going to find out how many people Who's likes to go to the gym? Yeah, all right. I believe all that. We have some integrity issues over here. I see that. No. Who over here likes to go to the gym? All right, you, sir. You in the front. You like to go to the gym. How many push-ups can you do right now? 40. 40 push-ups, allegedly, okay? 40 push-ups. Now, have you ever gotten to 41? What happens at 41? You start running out of breath. What happens at 45? Right? Okay, now, what is happening there? What's causing you when you get to 45 that you can't do this anymore? What? Mental, right? It's not your heart. It's your brain. Your brain is telling you can't do it. Why? No offense, but you're telling everyone you can only do 40. You're telling everyone, I do 40 push-ups. That's what I can do. And your brain is like, we can only do 40. So when you get to 39, your brain is like, oh no, we're about at our limit. We can't do this. 40's coming up. And then 41 hits, and you're like, oh no, I'm over my limit. Where's the confetti? 42, I might throw up all over these strangers at the gym, which is the worst place to throw up, honestly. Now you think to yourself, okay, is it your heart or is it your brain? Your brain is going to try to keep you alive. Anyone here hang out with toddlers? Okay, what is the job of a toddler from the moment it wakes up to the moment it goes to bed? What does a toddler want to do? You. Stand up, I can't hear you. It exhausts you? Okay, that's true. What do you think? That's all true too. A toddler's job from the moment it wakes up to the moment it goes to bed is to unfortunately kill itself. You have to save a toddler's life. It has no idea. It wants to lick an outlet. It takes a battery, puts it in its mouth. This is a toddler just exists to do. Look at that cute little gerbil. I bet you it's delicious. No, it's not. It's a gerbil. We don't eat gerbils. It's a toddler. Your brain thinks you're a toddler. And your brain is constantly trying to do what? Keep the toddler alive. Do not put that in your mouth. Don't do more than 40 push-ups. You're going to die. Are you going to die at 41 push-ups? No, but your brain thinks you can, because your brain is like your grandparent during COVID. It just posts things that it doesn't even know what it's talking about half the time, right? Your brain is constantly trying to keep you alive. How many people here have been in a car accident? Okay, now check this out. You were in a car accident. The next time you got in the car and you drove to where the car accident had happened, what did your brain do? Did you feel weird the next time you got in a car? Did you feel weird when you drove by where the car accident was? Why? Because your brain is telling you, last time we did this, we ended up with a broken arm. It's obviously not what happened in the car. It's the car. It's the intersection. It's possessed by the devil. No, it's not. Your brain is trying to protect you. That's what's called post-traumatic stress, right? It's not a syndrome. It's post-traumatic stress. People in cars get it. They get in car accidents. People who go to war get it. People who have been in stressful situations get it. So what do we learn out of that lesson? It's not your brain. It's your heart you need to listen to. Your heart won't ever fail you. All your heart does is beat, luckily, right, for us. It's just going boom, 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 boom. When you get scared, the heart's like boom, 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 boom. But that's the brain's fault. Brain's telling the heart what to do. The heart is going to continue to push you all the time. And until that fails, we're in the fight. Till that heart stops, we're in the fight. The brain, it's thinking about Disneyland. It's thinking about what's coming out in the Grammy Awards and whether or not Travis Kelce's going to propose at the Super Bowl. And maybe your heart thinks that too, but that makes you an idiot. I'm sorry. But your heart is going to keep getting you through bad situations. Your heart's going to get you through when you get scared. Your heart's going to make you feel better when you realize I can get through it. And when you train that heart to do 41 push-ups, 45 push-ups, 50 push-ups, your brain's going to be like, I can't believe we're doing this. This is so crazy. Just a week ago, we could only do 40. Now we can do 60. It's amazing. Your heart is like, just tell me what to do. I'll keep pumping. We'll do 70 push-ups and 80 push-ups. And in order to do that with your heart, you got to learn how to be uncomfortable. And let me tell you something, young people. You're going to fail. Oh my, I said it. You're going to fail. You're going to screw up. And you know what? That makes you uncomfortable. And we need to screw up. Every one of these successful people that you see that has gray hair, some of it's thinning, no comment. Here's the deal. They all failed. They all screwed up. You are going to screw up. You're going to be embarrassed. You're going to make a fool out of yourself. And you're going to realize, like a dent in a car, it buffs out. You need to fail. You need to screw up. That's how you're going to be uncomfortable. That's how you're going to be better. That's how you're going to succeed. And that's how you're going to lead. So, brain, awesome. Appreciate all the stuff we put in our brain. But our heart is what's in charge here. Our heart's moving. And we got to condition our heart. And the way we condition our heart is what? Be uncomfortable. Eat that food you never had before. Listen to the music your parents like. I know, just for 5 minutes, do it. Talk to the people. Hear the point of view. Learn about the religion you've never known before. Hear about the person that is questioning and doesn't understand what everyone else thinks to be true. Be uncomfortable and grow from it and learn from it. You know what you're going to find? That person who you think is weird, who says things that you don't understand, after you hear it the first time, it's not threatening. I just disagree with you. Who here likes the Chargers? Exactly. Why? They're horrible. I don't like the Chargers. I don't think you should be harmed in any way. I don't like the Chargers. But I understand it. I get it. Go like the Chargers. It doesn't threaten me. It doesn't bother me. I just don't know why you like the Chargers is all. That's it. That's all I got.
Okay, well, let me sum up 2 calls of action while you students go to our 3 partners in the audience, go to them and ask your questions. 2 calls to action. 1, respect our veterans, go up to them and thank them for their service. If you don't meet enough veterans, come to the Reagan Library more often because we are honored that we have lots of veterans who pass through our doors every day. 2, be uncomfortable. That is a golden piece of advice I hope you're all taking to heart because that is true leadership and that will help you grow. As somebody who's been uncomfortable more times than I can count, I
During
can tell
this
you,
interview, and Kat,
Amen.
I made you uncomfortable. And I didn't even mean to.
I don't know the last time somebody was up and down running a comedy show.
I became Tony Robbins. I'm sorry.
It's part of the fun, and I think it's part of our process of learning from somebody who has faced an enemy, who has demonstrated the highest levels of courage, who goes out there and is uncomfortable often trying to be vulnerable and share his story, which is painful, to get a label of a hero, which is also hard. If you talk to a veteran, especially Medal of Honor, being called a hero, there's a certain level of pressure that is. So as someone who's been very uncomfortable, as 2 people who have survived uncomfortability, you will survive, you will grow, and you'll be better for it. So I hope you take those 2 calls to action from this brilliant man here, and you really own that for yourself. I promise it will lead you to great places. So let's get going with our questions. Jason, please introduce yourself, young man, and what school you go to.
I'm Logan Montes, and I go to Patriotism Middle School. My question is, how did you overcome your fear of serving in Iraq?
How did I overcome my fear from, I'm sorry.
Serving in Iraq.
What?
Serving in Iraq.
Fear. Fear. Fear is that brain. The brain is telling you a lot of things. Again, that brain is whispering in your ear. You can't do, you know what? These people might shoot you. That might happen. I don't know what else to do. My brain is telling me something. But I'm a leader, and I've got all these subordinates, all these soldiers that I'm in charge of, and I love them like they're my kids. So now I'm thinking about their mom, their dad, their girlfriends, their brothers and sisters, and now I got to look them in the eye and everyone got shot, everyone got fragged, and I'm like, seemed to be good. I don't know what happened there. Everyone else took lead but me, right? I didn't get hurt, but they did. And I'm thinking, do I want to live with that? And as your brain starts flying all this information, you ever been really scared? Bees' nests? Who likes snakes? Snakes are scary, right? You see a snake, what do you start thinking about? You're like, oh no, snake, it's gonna bite me. I'm gonna die. I don't like snakes. And then you start thinking, like, why doesn't MTV play anything other than ridiculousness? And you're like, wait, why did that thought get into my head? Why didn't a snake make me think about the programming at MTV? Because your brain is just filtering information. So what you have to do is discipline your brain. That your brain might tell you, what do you want to do with your life? Get that microphone, I can't hear anything. And even with the microphone, I can't hear, so I apologize.
I want to serve in the Navy one day.
Navy. What if I told you you can't do that? What are you going to say to me?
I would say that it's possible.
No, it's not possible. You can't do it. It's not going to ever happen. Now what? You can't do it. It's not going to happen. You're not going to serve in the Navy. All of the dreams that you want, I'm telling you as a random stranger with shoes on, that you can't do it. Now what do you say to me?
I say that I'm still going to try.
Okay, how about you don't say anything? No, don't clap. No, no. I just told you you can't fulfill what you want to do with your life. What do you think?
I think that I can still try.
I'm asking you to not think about an idiot on a stage telling a dynamic, brilliant, everything's in front of you. I don't know anything about you. What's your mom's name?
Irene.
I don't know. How could I possibly tell you what you're going to do with your life? I don't even know your mom's name. Guess what you need to tell your brain? That guy's an idiot. And he doesn't control me. What I say about you means nothing because you have a gift and you have a purpose and you have greatness in you. And my opinion of your greatness means about as much as my opinion on the LA Chargers. It's an opinion. You know what? So when someone says you can't do something, you know what you say? Fine. That's what you think. I'm not here. You're not here to prove me wrong. You're here to prove God right, your mom and dad right. And you are going to do whatever you want to do. Who cares what the suit says? And by the way, I have nothing against the Navy. I'd like you in the Army. But that's my opinion. You will do whatever you want to do. All you have to do is want it, discipline yourself, and go get it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Go get them, right? Right? All right.
Oh, good. I'm on the stage for the group Idiot and Stupid. So thank you for attending my last time on the stage
I'm
and possibly
sorry.
my
You know
last
what I
day
meant.
here.
You
Just
know what I
kidding.
meant.
I'm kidding. Thank you for your candor. Yes, Marilyn.
My name is Kate Groupie, and I want to thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And I was just wondering, what was your favorite food?
In general or in the Army?
Huh?
Is it my favorite food overall?
In the Army.
In the Army, anything that was warm. That's all I wanted to do, was eat something that was hot, right? That was a treat. That was a treat. But, you know, they got these mission, these MREs, the meals ready to eat, a lot different than what those Vietnam guys had. And your dad ate some stuff out of a can that God bless him. I wouldn't touch that. I ain't cracking open a can from 1942 and, enjoying that. We actually ate really, really well. And it was always a sign that something bad was going to happen. When they would show up, be like, the good people at Outback brought us steaks and lobster. And you're like, wow, we're going to somewhere really horrible right now, aren't we? Yes, you are. Enjoy it. It's delicious. But yeah, no, I liked food that reminded me of home, and I loved eating. I'm Italian, so eating's like a huge part of what we do. And being around my friends when it wasn't stressful and just having conversations, being normal, that was the coolest part about being in the military. Just hanging out with guys every day, talking about our lives, disagreeing. Believe it or not, We have people that disagree in our own units, like your own family. I'm sure you have people in your class, people at home, but you love them, and they disagree. And so we would have these arguments over, what beer, what comic book, what show you watched, and then something would happen, and that guy that you just, I could not believe he said Bruno Mars has no talent. That's outrageously disrespectful. That guy, you end up doing something that is going to save his life. Even though you disagree with him, you love him. The love is stronger than anything else. And food brings us all together, right? Absolutely. Yeah. That and spaghetti.
My name's Ashan, and I'm from Sinaloa Middle School.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask, how did you feel when you got the Medal of Honor?
It was really, it was pretty weird. You go in the Army and it's all about the team and about the community, and then you get recognized individually, and you think to yourself, I don't want the attention to be known as anything other than I was a teammate. I wanted to be a good teammate. I didn't want to be the guy, especially as a squad leader, I don't want to be the guy getting the awards. I want my guys to get the awards. And I want to just, retire and raise kids. And I want my kids to get the Medal of Honor. I want all of them to have it. I want to raise a group. They're all going to defend America every single day. And by the way, if you don't want to join the military, that's cool. But I want you to be proactive towards evil every single day. I want you to stand up to the bully, right? I want you to stand up for the people that can't stand up for themselves. You are part of our national defense, even if you don't wear the uniform, because you represent us. And there's a whole lot of things out there that we can do better. We can do much better together. But the hardest part about getting the Medal of Honor is wearing it and having to compete with legends from World War II and Vietnam and try to put yourself in a category and all that nonsense. So I don't really think about it. Nothing's really changed. I just wear a handsome blue necklace places that they tell me to wear it. And I take it off. And here's the great part. If I took this off, would you think anything? So you think that I'm different than you, right? No, what do you mean? I'm not getting the Medal of Honor. What do you mean I'm not different than you? What have you done? Nothing. You're 12. I mean, let's put it in perspective here, right? I'm supposed to tell you that what I did was the most incredible thing in the world, that we are separate and let me tell you something. We're not. We're all the same. You love your cat. Did you see that girl throw the snake around with the guinea pig in it from Australia? You see that? Why did she do that? But why did she try? That was a python that could have killed her. Why did she do it? Because she loves her guinea pig, which is insane to say out loud. But she loves her guinea pig. She's willing to do whatever she can for that guinea pig. That is in you. You will do whatever you have to do for your brother, your sister, your friend, your mom, your dad, your group, your organization, your community. There's no difference. You are going to earn this award in your lifetime. It might not come from the president, but we all are going to have a Medal of Honor moment. And it might be someone who says horrible things that upset people. It might be from someone that doesn't understand where we come from and is cruel. But there's going to be a moment that you're going to stand up and say, I didn't know I could do that. That is your Medal of Honor moment. And that makes us equal. All in this together. We're all in this together. It's a global war on stupid. All right? And we are all in this fight together because we can have a better world than we got from mom and dad. Who's with me? All right.
All right, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but this is going to be our last question, and we'll give a rousing round of applause and with our gratitude and show this great man after we hear this. But Again, thank you all for being such an attentive audience, for really hearing and listening to what's been shared today. So, Jason, let's cue our last question.
Hi, my name is Riley, and and I'm from High Desert School, and what was it like going to the White House and meeting the president?
You know, the White House is just, there's so much history. I kind of feel that way right now, being in the legacy of Ronald Reagan. I'm a big President Reagan fan, and I love that man. That guy could tell you the worst news in the world, and you knew President Reagan was running the world. It was going to be okay. How old are you?
11.
11. I was 11 years old thinking that Gorbachev was going to nuke us. I thought the Soviet Union was trying to kill us. I didn't know if this was going to be my last MacGyver episode, right? And Ronald Reagan was in charge of the world, and I just felt that because President Reagan was calling the shots, that we were going to be okay. And that White House represents, whether you like the guy or you don't vote for the man or woman as president, they're your president. They're the commander-in-chief. If the president calls me up and says, I need you to invade Canada, you're like, well, that seems, I love Michael J. Fox. Why would I invade Canada? Canada's our friends. We don't have a problem with Canada. You trust the president knows what they're doing, and the president is looking out what's best for all of us, and that building is the epicenter of America and leadership, and it's very humbling to be in it, very humbling. And so you get a little nervous and a little scared, and you want to make sure you do the right thing. You don't want to screw up in the White House, right? You don't want to rip your pants or fall, you know. You don't want to do those things. So I made sure that I was at my best behavior, which meant that I was very quiet and just kind of, right? Because this is actually who I am. And not a lot of people like it, believe it or not. Even at 11, I was upsetting people. But my point is, I was in such awe of that majesty of what this country is. And I feel that way when I talk to older veterans and I see what they've done with their life. And am I worthy of that? Am I worthy? You know, a lot of my friends and a lot of these guys' friends, they didn't come home, right? They died in our fight. And so now we're thinking, are we the best people we can be for them? Right? I want you to remember my friends. I want you to remember Sean Sims and Stephen Falkenberg and all my friends that passed away, because if I would have died, they'd be right here talking to an 11-year-old, telling them, you got to hear about this Bellavia guy. He was so handsome. So handsome. He was handsome, right? Stop it. He was charming and had wonderful hair. That's what they'd say.
Well, thank you, David Bellavia, so much for gracing us with your...
Thank you. 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 You're awesome. You're awesome. Thank you.